StoryShots is proud to bring you this free audiobook summary. Do you want to get access to more free audiobook summaries like this? Subscribe and click the bell button now to get notified each time we upload a new summary. You can also download our free app and enjoy thousands of other summaries of best-selling nonfiction books that are available in text, audio, and animated formats.
StoryShots book summary of Educated, a memoir by Tara Westover. Introduction. Imagine being brought up in isolation from the outside world. Your father is paranoid, and your mother uses only herbal medicine to heal even the most horrific injuries. This was the childhood experience of Tara Westover, the author of Educated. Raised by Mormon parents on a remote Idaho farm, she lived under her father's rule until deciding on a bid for freedom through education. This inspirational book tells the story of how Westover liberated herself through study. She even achieved a scholarship to the University of Cambridge. Meeting people with a very different perspective from her father allowed her to live a life beyond the constraints of her childhood. Educated entered the New York Times bestseller list at number 1 in 2018 and has been a finalist for several awards. About Tara Westover is an American memoirist, essayist, and historian. She overcame immense childhood adversity to excel academically and become highly influential. In 2019, she was chosen by Magazine as one of the 100 most influential people. Westover also has a solid academic record. She earned a master's degree from the University of Cambridge as a Gates Cambridge Scholar. She was also a visiting fellow at Harvard University in 2010. Subsequently, she returned to the University of Cambridge in 2014 to earn a doctorate in intellectual history. StoryShot 1. Tara had an unusual childhood. Childhood looks different for everyone. For some, it's a time of happiness and innocence as you play the day away. For others, it's more complicated. From a young age, Tara knew her life was different. She was the youngest of 7 children, and her parents intended to raise their family in the Mormon religion. Additionally, the children were expected to help out on the family's rural farm in Idaho. Living as survivalists, Tara enjoyed the freedom of playing in nature and running through the nearby hills. However, there was a reason the family lived on a rural farm. Tara's father, Gene, had overwhelming paranoia. He believed the government's primary aim was to brainwash society and lead them away from God. This led Gene to raise the family as survivalists. Survivalists over-prepare with the expectation that the worst is inevitable. Tara and her siblings had to carry supplies with them at all times. Their parents advised them to run for the hills if the government's police ever came for them. Tara's supplies included herbal medicines, as her family considered traditional medicine evil. She also carried water purifiers, guns, knives, and long-lasting meals. Tara's grandmother did not hold the same beliefs as Tara's parents. The young girl's upbringing was so strict that her grandmother once encouraged her to run away with her to Arizona. Tara thought long and hard about this offer, but eventually rejected it. As well as instilling fear in Tara and his other children, Gene also had extreme views on gender roles. Gene's Mormon beliefs encouraged him to believe that women should stay at home as caregivers. Gene did let Tara's mother, Faye, work as a midwife. This was only because the role was an extension of her caregiving role as a woman. Faye disagreed with traditional medicine and took a holistic approach to medicine. Essentially, she was an herbalist. StoryShot 2. There was a lack of education at home. Tara and her siblings had no school experience. They were brought up believing the school system was a propaganda machine for the government. Gene and Faye thought the public school system was a government ploy to lead children away from God. Gene forced his children to be homeschooled, but this term is used loosely to describe Tara's education. Tara's brother taught her to read at the age of 4, but by the time she turned 8, there was minimal schooling at home for Tara. Faye left her children to learn by their own devices. Tara and her siblings would use the public library to learn standard subjects like math, history, and science. However, they were given little guidance. The topics they studied were merely based on what they found interesting. When Tara was 10 years old, her brother Tyler turned 18 and announced his plans to go to college. He took his studies seriously and was ready to pursue higher education. Of course, this upset their father. Gene had expected Tyler would continue to help with work on the farm. Gene said schooling was corrupt and that reading and writing would never give his son the concrete skills to support a wife and family. Importantly, Tyler's announcement sparked curiosity in Tara that higher education was possible. She started to study by herself more rigorously. Focusing mainly on religion, she began to immerse herself in education. StoryShot 3. There was a lack of medical attention and care. Tara and her family had a car accident when her 17-year-old brother Tyler fell asleep at the wheel on a long road trip. Even though no one was wearing their seatbelt, they all miraculously survived. However, the accident wasn't without repercussions. Tara's mother, Faye, suffered a severe brain injury and needed immediate medical attention. Although Gene considered taking her to the hospital, he ultimately decided she could recover in their basement. Faye ultimately experienced significant memory loss and persistent migraines. Even after these symptoms emerged, Gene refused to take her to the hospital. One of Tara's brothers, Luke, had a similar experience. Luke was involved in an accident at the scrapyard, which ended with one of his legs catching fire. Again, despite a clear need for medical help, Tara's father would not agree to take Luke to the hospital. Luke sustained burns that debilitated him for weeks. Eventually, Faye's herbs helped him recover. Instead of learning from this experience, Tara's father viewed his son's recovery as an act of God and a result of Faye's healing powers. The car crash and Luke's accident were not the only times when the family failed to seek medical attention. In 2000, Gene took the family to visit his mother in Arizona and insisted on leaving despite an impending snowstorm. On the way home, the family's car slid off the road and crashed into a field. Again, none of them was wearing a seatbelt. Remarkably, all family members survived this second car crash. Tara lost consciousness during the accident and doesn't remember how she got home. She does know she never went to the hospital. StoryShot 4. Tara learned independence through work. Tara's older siblings left home as soon as they had enough money to support themselves. As a result, Gene's farming business began to crumble, and he was forced to focus on developing a scrapyard business. As he needed help from the remaining children, Tara worked in the junkyard. Her primary role was to separate materials to sell. Tara hated this job. It was repetitive and not intellectually stimulating enough. Subsequently, she decided to post pamphlets to promote herself as a babysitter. In no time, Tara was working from 8 a.m. to noon as a babysitter. Earning her own money doing something outside the family business made her feel liberated. She had never felt such freedom before. She was gaining independence, and her job as a babysitter led to more opportunities around the community. This independence was short-lived, though. Gene's paranoid delusions stunted Tara's education outside her family. He had convinced himself that the year 2000 would be the end of the world. In 1999, he began spending all his time preparing and stockpiling for an apocalypse. Of course, the world did not end. Tara recalls Gene looking like a broken man when January first hit. This event challenged his beliefs, but not enough to stop him from continuing to pursue them. StoryShot 5. Tara realized she needed to leave home. One of Tara's siblings, Sean, grew particularly aggressive during his teenage years. Tara would frequently encounter him abusing his girlfriend. He would then turn this treatment onto Tara. Sean would push her head into the toilet, strangle her, or call her names. This abuse made Tara's life a living hell. Sean's behavior became even more dangerous and erratic after suffering a traumatic brain injury at work. Tara was given the job of being Sean's carer. This was the last straw, and she decided she had to leave home. She studied for her ACT and earned a good enough score to attend Brigham Young University. Although her father continued to challenge Tara's education, her mom became more supportive. At just 16 years old, Tara moved to Utah to attend Brigham Young University with her mother's support and help. StoryShot 6. Tara experienced culture shock at college. Due to Tara's strict, sheltered upbringing, she had a hard time adjusting to life away from home. She struggled to connect with her roommates as they were from a different world to her. Immediate impressions. The first time Tara met Shannon, her roommate was wearing tight pink pants and a white top. Shannon also completely bared her shoulders. Shocked and appalled, Tara retreated to the privacy of her room. She got on well with her second roommate, Mary, but struggled with other aspects of her education. For example, Tara wrestled with the difficulty of her classes. She had chosen particularly challenging subjects: English, American history, music, religion, and Western civilization. She was also not used to formal education. She quickly realized how unprepared she was for college life. A learning curve. With the bombardment of new academic terms and formal tests, she felt herself sinking. She would always worry about how she could catch up with her fellow students. She was so uneducated in history, specifically, that she had some distressing experiences in class. One day she mustered up the courage to ask her professor the meaning of a term she had never heard before. Silence filled the room, and the stares from her classmates embarrassed her. The term she had asked her professor to clarify was the Holocaust. On top of these pressures, she also had the financial pressure of living expenses. Tara knew she had to improve her grades significantly and gain a scholarship. A classmate helped her by explaining that she was supposed to read the text in the course-related book and not just look at the images. After this, her grades began to improve significantly. Tara finished the semester with almost straight A's, allowing her to obtain a scholarship for half her tuition. The skill I was learning was a crucial one, the patience to read things I could not yet understand. Tara Westover. StoryShot 7. Tara slowly adapted to life outside her father's worldview. This is the end of part 1 and the free shot of this book. Thanks for listening. Get the full text, infographic, animated video, and audiobook summary on the StoryShots app. What should our next book be? Suggest or vote it up using the Vote for New Books survey in the StoryShots app. To dive into the details and support the author, order the full audiobook for free using the link in the description or the app. Did you like the lessons you learned here? Share to show you care, or let us know by contacting us at support@getstoryshots.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Did you like this audiobook summary? Click the like button now to support our channel. If you don't want to miss out on new free audiobook summaries, subscribe and click the bell button. You can also download our free app and enjoy thousands of other summaries of best-selling nonfiction books that are available in text, audio, and animated formats. StoryShots has been featured by Apple, Google, and The Guardian as one of the world's best reading and learning apps. Go to getstoryshots.com and download the app today.